the amazing Hillary Clinton.
You know, when I was Secretary of State, I used to talk about one and done. And what I meant by that is that people would get legitimately elected, and then they would try to do away with elections and do away with opposition and do away with a free press. And you could see it in countries where, well, Hitler was duly elected.
That's right.
Right? And so all of a sudden, somebody with those tendencies, those dictatorial, authoritarian tendencies, would be like, oh, okay, we're going to shut this down. We're going to throw these people in jail. And they didn't usually telegraph that. Trump is telling us what he intends to do.
We need to listen to
Take him at his word. The man means to throw people in jail who disagree with him.
Well, I think we should lock him up now.
Well, you know.
By the way, you know, Mrs. Clinton did win the popular vote.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I continue to believe that you won. I don't care what they say.
No, but look, how much longer is he going to do this rigged election thing?
I continue to believe that you won. I don't care what they say.
No, but look, how much longer is he going to do this rigged election thing? I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president. And because of that, he's very insecure about it. He accuses other people of doing what he does.
Yes, projection.
And I didn't understand that projection. I didn't understand that originally, and it was so odd. I mean, he accused people of all these things, and that's like a central part of his personality.
Yes.
How much longer is he going to do this rigged election thing?
What I learned is that the Russians were successful. You can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
There was voter suppression, there was the FBI's intervention, and then there were the Russians. Russian WikiLeaks. Russia, Russian interference, and Russians, Putin, the Russians. The election meant on October 27th, I'd be your president. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. How much longer is he going to do this rigged election thing? I know we're all focused on the 2022 midterm elections, and they are incredibly important. But we also have to look ahead, because you know what? Our opponents certainly are. Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election. And they're not making a secret of it. When you're 100% committed, it's really hard to say you were wrong.
The Republican Party needs to move away. Quit being part of a cult, in effect, where you follow someone who lies to you, undermines legitimate processes of government.
And I did say, and I believe this, and there are a lot of other people, not just me, saying this. Liz Cheney said it recently, that there's a kind of cult-like dimension here.
Yeah. What do you think about how we get better after the wounds that have been inflicted on us through this process?
Well, I think, the truth matters.
And hey, they're going after democracy and even counting votes that they think will help them and not others that won't.
But the deliberate effort to divide Americans.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it. And unfortunately, there are people like that.
I don't feel any satisfaction. I feel great, just great, profound sadness that we have a former president who has been indicted for so many charges that went right to the heart of whether or not our democracy would survive. Just great, profound sadness.
Yeah. And I think one thing you and I agree on is Donald Trump is an existential threat to this country.
What, in your view, would happen if he were to be reelected?
Oh, I can't even think that, because I think it would be the end of our country as we know it. And I don't say that lightly.
Yeah.
I hated losing. And I especially hated losing to him because I had seen so many warning signals during the campaign. But I immediately said, look, we have to give him a chance. We've got to support you know, the president we have.
There are a lot of folks in the media that try to, anytime a Republican is in front of a TV camera, try to say the election was fair and square and legitimate. You know who y'all don't do that to? You don't do it to Hillary Clinton, who stood up and said Trump stole the election.
Storm the Capitol. They didn't try to kill my
Stacey
former
Abrams, who said that the election was stolen. They sat here and said it was illegitimate, and you guys were fine with it. They sat here and said it was illegitimate, and you guys.
And I meant it, and I tried really hard. And then literally from his inauguration on, it was nothing but, you know, accusing people of things, making up facts, denying the size of the crowd at his own inauguration. And everything that I worried about, I saw unfolding. And so I think that he'd be even worse now. He accuses other people of doing what he does.
Yes.
And so the wreckage is almost unimaginable.
He's going to do it. He's not going to do a whole bunch of stuff right now.
Well, not yet.
Not right now. Well, no, not right yet.